Hey everyone, we have another special champion to show off in today's spotlight. A very special champion, in fact, that might even look familiar to a few of you. A while back, we launched the Champion Concept Community Fan Art Challenge. The winner got the usual rewards like shards and other goodies, but the grand prize was a promise to bring the winning concept to life. Well, here he is, the winning champion concept. Meet Kalvalax. A poisonous attacker, a bane of bosses, and an all-around badass. Let's take a closer look. Kalvalax was born in the brilliant mind of David Fitzsimmons, one of the members of this awesome community who took part in our challenge. Even just a glance at the original concept is enough to show that Kalvalax was a perfect fit for Raid's general art style. And the faction pretty much picked itself. When the team took one look at the sickly green runes and ornamentation on his armor, they knew he was one of the Knights Revenant. While our artists did experiment with some modifications to the concept, they liked the original version so much that they only made minor detail adjustments to bring it further in line with the flavor of the Knights Revenant. And then, as the artists prepared the model for the game engine, our game designers worked out a set of skills that would do such an awesome champion design justice. With that eerie green light and the dark miasma surrounding Kalvalax's body, it was simple enough to choose his specialization: poisons. And we mean it, he really loves poison. Every one of his skills uses the debuff in one way or another. His passive skill, Pestilence, is how Kalvalax gets his poisons onto the field. And it's a lot of poisons. Not only does he place 4 poison debuffs on all enemies at the start of each round, he also has a 50% chance of placing a new one on the entire enemy team at the start of each of his turns. That skill would be awesome by itself. He brings the pain before he's even taken a proper turn. But it means that he almost always has fuel to work with when he uses his other abilities. Oh, and if anyone tries to poison Kalvalax, they'll be in for a surprise. He just replaces the incoming poison with a 15% continuous heal buff. The only problem that Kalvalax might have is that the poison his passive puts out at the start of each turn only lasts 1 turn. It's hard to build up any quantity of poison that way. Fortunately, Kalvalax's default skill, Oozing Greatsword, has a high chance of increasing the duration of all poison debuffs on his target. It also heals him a small amount based on how many poison debuffs are on that target. Alone, this skill would be useful for building up a healthy number of debuffs that Kalvalax could use to keep himself alive and deal more damage with his other skills. However, combined with a Retaliation or Relentless artifact set, he could seriously threaten any enemy. Alright, I've mentioned a couple times already that Kalvalax uses poisons to fuel his other skills, so let's see what it does here. His second skill, Corruption Locus, is a hard-hitting attack that places extra hits for every poison debuff on the target. Up to 3 extra hits in total. If you see a squishy glass cannon or healer on the enemy team that absolutely needs to go, this is how you make that happen. With all the debuffs Kalvalax places on his foes by default, you'll be pretty much guaranteed to get a 4-hit smasher early on. If you think that's Kalvalax's heavy hit, though, you'd be mistaken. His third skill, Storm of Vitriol, is a massive AoE attack that deals more damage based on the number of poison debuffs on each target. This makes Kalvalax's first turn particularly devastating. Better yet, the skill's damage also scales based on enemy max HP, as though he needed any help being a boss killer. To round things out, he also has a 19% speed increase aura that works in all battles. It's a respectable number, and rare outside the PvP-specific turn meter boosters that don't bring as much to the table as Kalvalax. So, looking at his arsenal, it's easy to see that Kalvalax will make the clan boss rage quit. This champion has some serious potential against all kinds of bosses though, and will be a solid addition to the Doom Tower as well. He comes prepackaged with plenty of poison debuffs and the means to make them really count, including the ability to extend their duration. And he has an attack that scales from the enemy's HP. He's pretty much everything you want from a Giant Slayer. Needless to say, Kalvalax will synergize well with any champion that can take advantage of such a massive amount of poison debuffs, or those who can add a bit of poison sensitivity to the mix. But remember, enemies can resist Kalvalax's poison debuffs, so you'll want to give him plenty of accuracy to avoid that. And speed. The more he gets to use his default skill, the better. As long as you check both of those boxes though, Kalvalax is pretty chill about what artifact sets you give him. He's a damage dealer and will benefit from the usual DPS builds as long as his accuracy and speed aren't neglected. And that's everything for Kalvalax. And now you know how much of a beast this guy is. Thanks again to David Fitzsimmons for giving us this amazing powerhouse, As part of our thanks, we sent a gift-wrapped Kalvalax to his account, and he was kind enough to share his thoughts on the champion. Let's hear from the artist himself.
I had so much fun being involved in the character creation process, converting the Duke of Doom through to Kalvalax, the character that we have in the game today. Two things amazed me. The first was what an amazing job they did converting a 2D image into the amazing 3D animation that we have in the game now. It is exactly as I imagined, and so really well done, guys. I guess given the game is so gorgeous, that's hardly a surprise. The second thing is how inclusive Plarium were through the entire process. You know, Jay Giggs, another content creator, said it perfectly. Plarium went the extra mile here. So they could have actually released this character as a rare, or maybe as an ordinary epic, but instead, they released it as an absolutely kick-ass legendary. So whilst he might be called Kalvalax, he'll always be considered the people's champion. And I think it's a good honor for all the people who submitted entries, because there were some amazing entries that were in that competition. I hope one day you have him in your roster. Until then, guys, raid on.
As the first community-made champion, Kalvalax holds a special place in our hearts. Not only was he a blast to work on for the artists and game designers, but the Champion Concept Challenge in itself showed us how many awesome and talented people there are in our community. Rest assured, it won't be the last one we hold. So, keep your eyes out for more art contests, and who knows, perhaps next time, the champion we're spotlighting will be yours. Good luck and happy raiding!